Shanti. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the workshop on the art of absorbance. Take a minute, tap onto the silence within. Let's think about all the energies that surround us, all the different kind of experiences, happiness or something of negative stress, some sadness, all the energy that is surrounding us. We tend to absorb unknowingly. So let's be aware and let's focus on absorbing the positive. Think that I am absorbing positive energy surrounding every moment. Okay, so welcome everyone. And so welcome once again for the workshop. Let's look at what we have been doing so far. This is episode 6. We have covered art of being still, art of thinking, art of refreshing, sustaining the self, harmonizing with others, and today is the workshop on absorbance. Okay, so let's begin with our icebreaker. I know slowly some more people will join, and let's look at what insight this icebreaker gives, and you can share on the chat box. That was the little video that so beautifully explaining, right, how easily we absorb. So what would be your insight in the chat? Any thought coming from the video?
When we're giving help to others, we have to be detached. Otherwise, we're going to absorb their energy and it will affect us.
Beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else you can put on the chart? Just a thought, a line, a word. Brother Manoj says, empower yourself constantly through whatever means you want. You will see many, many things around, but being detached. And that what can empower you is important. Anyone else?
Well, the chat settings are allowing them. I'm just checking. Yeah, I'll be this. Thanks. So
now it's allowing. Harpreet sister says, awareness, keep the self full of the divine energy. Anyone else? Yeah. Always says, and if we take on others' energy, Baba helps to neutralize it. Yeah. Happiness, that giving, that kind heart at the end, it all neutralized. So it is from the divine as we observe. Denise, sister from Vancouver Island, says sometimes being empathetic can result in picking up on others' negative energy. So we have to protect ourselves when having compassion for others. That's a word, right? Called compassion. Yeah. But I think compassion is an unlimited energy we should keep giving, right? And the joy, if we focus on that, how we are being a help to others, that will save us, protect. Keep the soul and spirit in the light. Yeah. Janendra says, keep doing selfless service, be kind, be loving, fill in first, then share selflessly. Yeah, see, this intrigued everybody, right? Beautiful video. Gurpreet says, it's easy to absorb, yet having a powerful way to recharge is important. Nisha says, it is deeper understanding or connection with a higher. Yeah, that's what will protect us and neutralize whatever negative you may be observing, but we keep giving, being there. Thank you. I think I'll now pass it on to Brother Manoj.
Okay, thank you so much. Quite a few sharings. So you're going to before time, but I also tried to do that. Thanks. So, and there are more participants now. So, as all of you know, the flow of the workshop is first we'll take now the sharings of what Sudha Devi had to say. Shamelessly, it is visible. So she gave us beautiful analogies, corollaries, whatever you want to say. And I'll just cover what she had said. The first thing she told us about in this ability to absorb is the sponge. So, in a wider perspective, when you want to use the sponge, you have to first, if you want the sponge to absorb something, you have to first squeeze it out. That's what she said. So, same thing she said, as you can look at the third point directly, squeeze out first. And we need to really squeeze out that whatever extra we have in us, make the sponge of the mind, intellect, heart, whatever you say, because it is all filled with lots of thoughts, waste, negative, and feelings for people. So I need to really, if I want to absorb God's love, I need to first free myself. And she then went on to say that any action becomes an art when it has a purpose and brings benefit to others as well as the one who performs that action. Because all of you know we are discussing arts in detail. So she spoke about what you should absorb, and then second is what you should not absorb. So she explained us through the analogy of digestion. So in the process of digestion, we have processes of first is absorption, then is assimilation, and then is excretion. So excretion means you just get rid of what you don't want. So starting with the example of food, she said that it's important that whatever food we are consuming should be actually right from the stage of maybe even purchasing from outside, cutting, cooking, and then eating. All of that has to go in a state of mind which is elevated. Because in Hindi we say, Jaisa an Vaisa man, which means whatever is your state of mind, it will be reflected into the food if you're cooking that, and then it will automatically be absorbed by the person eating that food. She went on to say that the purpose of eating is to be healthy till the soul is in the body. So might as well let us look at the food for the soul. So is my soul consuming good food, in the sense good, positive, pure, powerful thoughts, or it is still absorbing someone's negativity? So that's what I don't want to absorb, and that's what Sister Sudha was stressing all the time. She went on to say about wealth in, the concept of wealth in India. We have these two words. One is called Lakshmi, who's the goddess of wealth, and in a very loose way, people call Maya. But now in Raj Yoga meditation, we come to know what is Maya. Maya is actually not about wealth. It basically means our negative sanskars, our weaknesses, our deficiencies, all those things. So then she went on to introduce the concept of absorbance and observance, two beautiful words rhyming with each other. She gave an example of morning sunlight being a good source of vitamin D. And also, she said that mind is like a sponge, as we discussed before. And it absorbs not only from the situations outside, from the environment, but also from the company which I keep. So from the people who I am in interaction with, because they can be a big source of good thoughts and positive thoughts as well. So I have to be very picky or very choosy about what company I am keeping. And then when she went on further to speak about observance, she spoke about this beautiful term, be a detached observer. And many times in our Vihasa values workshops, we have been using this SOS approach. S for SOS, it's an acronym. First S is if it's a racing mind, you're disturbed, put a full stop. It's the first step. Stop and stand back. Next is O. Be a detached observer of whatever situation you are in. Try to momentarily pull yourself out from that and observe it as a detached observer, not from the same level. Make your level high. And that making my level high means I'm getting connected first to my higher self and then to the source of that higher self of mine, that is Supreme Energy. And once I do that, then I easily can detach, because I'm observing it from not only a distance, but from a high level. And then things become small. And then I can get the power to do the third S, that is steer, which means change the direction, transforming it from something negative, challenging, to something which is positive and doable. So after this, she went on to say about revise, rehearse, and practice. Because many times people say, oh, people are overpowering. And when I'm in their company, whatever they say, there's no choice for me. I have to absorb. But that's a very, it's a feeling of being very weak. So she went on to say that if I connect myself with the Supreme Being, maybe in the morning, early morning when I do my meditation, or in the daytime at various points, if I'm connecting myself and absorbing God's love and God's power, then it should not be difficult for me. And she went on to also say this, that ask yourself that when you are saying this, that, oh, I am weak, I am this, are you really valuing yourself? No. So this is what she had to say, that value yourself, know your true value, connect to the Supreme, absorb all the positivity from Him, from the Godfather, and then these things won't bother you. And here she went on to introduce this concept of who am I? I think life starts here, and also, as I must say, life ends here as well. So the basic question, who am I? So in Raj Yoga meditation, all of you now, the participants who are there with us, all of you are on this journey with us, and in Raj Yoga meditation, the basic course of Raj Yoga is to know who you are. That I am the beautiful being of light situated in the center of the forehead. I am a child of God. I have to experience that. It's not about saying, it's about experience. And the more and more I find out time in my busy schedule to get connected to the Supreme Being, I'll be able to attract God's attitude. That's what she mentioned. And this way, my weaknesses will just disappear and I'll feel more empowered. And she went on to say, we always write quotes about the seniors, what they say. So, the art of absorbance requires the ability to make the right choice. That right choice is basically my power to discern and decide. I have just a few more minutes. I'll just take few questions. We'll see how much we can. So I asked this question and someone asked about absorption and assimilation. I already told you that assimilation is happening after absorption. So she said that assimilation is a process which happens after absorption. I have to give my gut some time to assimilate all that, absorb all the proteins, fats, carbohydrates, the nutrient, what we call the macronutrients from the meal. So first we absorb all of them and then we assimilate so that it goes in different organs of the body. And here she was saying about not eating when you're not hungry, because people nowadays just start eating again and again. There is no time to assimilate in that case. And she also mentioned a few examples of our first organizational head, administrator, Chakrama Saraswati. Okay, and next question, I'll take that someone has cheated me and I know he's doing wrong. So how do I not absorb this? Which means, how do I see but not see? So here she said it is not about art of absorption here, it is about power to face. So I need to really develop this power to face. In Hindi we say, samna karne ka. So if there's something wrong going happening, I need to face it with courage, shakti, with power. On the same lines, if someone has made a mistake and it is said forgive and forget, how do we do that? So you can't really forget a mistake. But if you have learned a lesson from that mistake, then in essence, you have already forgotten about that. And now that you remember still about from the past, but no pain feelings are there with that because you've healed yourself. And this was about a quick question about Ganesh Utsav, the deity, which is shown with a very big tummy. That's because this tummy is basically is the symbolic of a power of absorption. Because whatever people say, I just keep it to myself and don't try to spread it to any other person. That's the deity Ganesha, which is the symbol of power to absorb. Okay, so let's stop here and let's move on to the next activity. Over to Sister Anne. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Manu. With so much of reflection and absorbance, let's get into exercise. That's deeper reflection and see what we can absorb, get out of it. So let's start. So first exercise is observance versus observance. As we just heard, Didi brought the contrast between absorbance and observance. So just taken a few pre-reflections from it's not Sister Judy, Sister Sudha's sharing. So as a sister emphasized, ability to absorb also includes the ability to squeeze out. It's not that I would say, what can I do? Situation is like this. I am experiencing low or sad. No, I have to know that I can also remove it. And the second one is wisdom is to be an observer of the self and choose to observe good and positive and not observe the negative. We have that wisdom, as somebody mentioned, being a detached observer. I'm an observer, I can choose, and that's in my ability. like I choose at the first place to observe the positive, not the negative. The third one is when I'm observing what I have chosen to observe, then I'm responsible. There's no blame. Blame finishes there because I have a choice. I have to know that, and I have to choose what I have to observe and what I have to not observe, squeeze out, because I'm responsible for what I'm observing and what I'm experiencing. So, with this, 3 points, the part one of reflection is to just experience. Let's take just one minute to experience the contrast. So the first one is, let's take 1 minute, everyone, to reflect on one positive and joyful situation or event from your life. Just bring it to your attention, one of that joyful situation in life, and observe how you felt in that situation as you observed the positive. I'm sure everyone can reflect, remember one of that joyous situation from their life. So, how did you feel in that situation? Just in silence. I'm sure how you're feeling, very happy. How does it feel? Happiness for you. That is what we feel when we have observed positive, good around from our situation. Now, in contrast, let's now reflect on one negative situation is in your life. Can you bring that situation into your attention? And now observe how you felt observing the negative in this. So it's a very quick switch, but how did you feel in a negative situation? Now we can think of both the contrast, positive and negative. And what is that? We just saw in the pre-reflection is that the wisdom is to know it, observe it, and I can choose to switch from negative, even if it's negative surrounding, I don't absorb. So we need to know that when I absorb negativity from outside situations, like Didi said, my value becomes like a glass piece instead of a diamond. I have to remind myself I'm a diamond. And what happens, what is the difference, is that under the sun, the glass piece becomes, but not the diamond. So I react negatively or feel hurt, that is glass piece. So, I have to bring my value high. I am valuable, but if I forget, then I become like a glass piece. This is in my power to remain a diamond. So with this reflection, now let's take up this exercise that also Sudha Didi brought into attention. Reflect on the question, what are you absorbing for your good health in the following 3 aspects? Food, what is that you're absorbing to stay healthy? Thoughts, are we aware of our thoughts that will keep us healthy? And the ways of earning wealth as well. That's an important aspect, and reflect. What are the ways, like honest principles, or the way, what kind of energy I create for my work, for interactions at work, we can think in many ways, the ways of earning wealth. So you can write it down, maybe. Food, healthy thoughts, and healthy ways, principles of earning wealth at work. Music and 1 minute. Write it down. Good to take some time for this reflection and see your food, thoughts, and ways of earning wealth. And with that, now as we have reflected, let's reflect that any change needed. How can I make my food more healthy? Thoughts, what kind of thoughts can make it healthy? And if there is anything in my ways of earning wealth, I want to make change so that it can make me really healthy, because I'll absorb only good and positive. Because the wealth, with wealth, we bring food. So physically also, the wealth is a means to give health to our. I'll give you a few minutes to write down if any changes you want to make in these 3 aspects to be really healthy. That would be the good methods to absorb positive only. I hope you got some points to write down for yourself to bring the change. Would you like to share any insight on yourself and any changes you want to bring? Anyone would like to share? Are we fully healthy, observing the best? Any insight in these 3 aspects that we never thought before consciously? Are we all doing good then? No sharing? You can speak actually if you like. Yeah, I want to share. So, food, thoughts, and workplace learning, whichever one aspect that you could reflect on. Any change you want to make in your food style, in your
Om Shanti, sister.
Chandani, go ahead. Thank you.
I will just share the one change I want to make, which I liked from today's Moodly when Sister Shivani was speaking about food. So I want to develop a habit of not eating at anyone's place. And even if I have to go, I start eating only fruits when I'm outside my house, or prepare myself or prepare the meals by myself as an activity together in a joyful way where I don't offend them that I'm not eating at your place, but make it like an activity that we can cook together and then eat together. And I want to imbibe that in my lifestyle from now.
That's beautiful. So it's a way of protecting or being able to bring your good energy. So you said, making it a joyful experience. Very good. Anyone else would like to share? I know I see on the chat that you. Yeah, Geeta Jumani says always eat simple, light meal cooked by me. So me brings that element of self-control, right? Or protection that I can keep it a positive energy while cooking. What I am thinking, if I'm happy, that's what I'm adding to. And others we can't guarantee. And we are in a world where there can be many negative situations wear us down. So that may go to the food, then it will make me unhealthy. Understanding.
Om Shanti, sister, I can share. To be happy and healthy, being more aware how I do everything. So there's no LG. So we all know that. And being more soul conscious, keeping my qualities in front of me is seeing only the goodness in everything. Doesn't matter what is happening around me, but just staying the strengths and just being that person, giving that energy positive, always staying in the high energy.
Yeah. It's like remembering I'm a diamond, I'm shining, and
Yes.
I have to shine no matter what is around me, and I am being a help. Yeah. Positive energy. Thank you, Princess. Anyone else would like to unmute and speak? Denise sister says in the chat, I think relationships and connections is important to consider too. How much do I absorb by listening to waste of others or on YouTube, etc.? So being very vigilant to not waste time at all listening to waste so as not to absorb any negativity. That's a prevention, right, from beginning itself, that being aware, being alert when there is negativity around and not absorbing. Being alert itself will help us. Anyone else? If not, good to save time. Yes, Janendra, you can share.
Om Shanti, sister. My takeaways for today is that it's as important as to squeeze out as much as to absorb. Taking an example of the sponge. At the same time, I learned that if we keep on or allowing negativity to get into us, we are actually building a wall between us and God, and that way we won't be able to squeeze out.
That's a
So
beautiful
one thing.
Yeah.
So one thought, one change that I want to make is on thought level, that we have got the power to change the thought. If it's a negative one, we can replace it by a positive one. and we have got the power. So yeah, so that actually helps in squeezing out. So, and that's
Yeah.
one thing that I'm going to do.
Beautiful.
you.
I think we are having an exercise on that only. So that's really beautiful how you got the essence. One thing to remember that if we are observing negativity, I cannot absorb God's energy. There's a wall, barrier. Me and God's energy that is wanting to shower all the positive energy upon me and replacing negative with positive. Thank you, Jenny. Anyone else? Or maybe let's move on. Brother Deepak is noting down the sharings. If you, so as we always do the workshops, after workshop you'll receive the review materials with these sharing points, as well as the icebreaker video and all the summaries of the talk. Yeah, positive and joyful situation. When I remember a happy moment, my heart feels light and peaceful. Positivity gives strength because the soul is true and nature is purity, peace, love, and happiness. So knowing that, the contrast and remembering negative situation makes me like being misunderstood. The mind feels heavy and weak. This happens when I forget I'm a soul, like Diamond, right? Become body conscious. So the aim is to constantly keep in the stage of positivity is my original nature. Absorb God's love, empower yourself, and be kind, but do not absorb negative. Kind of that before. So when going to someone's place, yeah, how I can think that my energy is more in the, and I don't really, I'm protected from absorbing negative. I think relationships and connections are also important, where being aware of the ways around and being alert and not absorb. Yeah, it's important to squeeze out. When we observe there's negativity, we're absorbing. Otherwise, it becomes a barrier between me and God, and yeah, thank you, Deepak brother. And I was mentioning that you'll all receive the review materials and the upcoming program info. If you haven't shared your contact info with us, you can send us in the chat to everyone or to me, and we'll include you. We have an email list as well as WhatsApp. Thank you, everyone. I'll now hand it over for the next to Brother.
Okay, wonderful. So let's move further. Sorry, apologies. I'm in a room which is quite well with audio. It's a speaker room, but I don't know, for some reason I'm echoing. So just bear with me today. I don't have any other choice. Apologies. So let's move further. So, well, I've been speaking a lot about, we say in Hindi, tan, man, and dhan. Tan means the body. We spoke about the food for the body. Man is your mind. Third is your wealth. So let's see what Sister Judy Johnson had to say in the inner reflections. There will be a little bit of overlap and repetition, but that's what typically happens because the inner reflections, sisters Judy and other sister with her Debbie, they usually take the speaker, the main speaker's notes, and on that then they devise exercises. So, sorry. I don't know why I'm getting this in between. Okay, let me just take it here. So the first she mentioned was managing the flow. I have to see that in the art of absorbance, what is the flow of my energy? Is it getting stuck somewhere? And as we were discussing, am I really absorbing something which I'm not able to absorb? And then I really get stuck. So how do I manage my flow? She started with these few English words, which are similar to absorb, which is imbibe, inculcate, integrate, assimilate. We've already spoken. So one may imbibe or integrate when one is actively doing it. But she said absorbance is different. Absorb can be happening even when one is not intentional. So it can happen very often that unintentionally I absorb that negative energy I didn't mean to actually. My intention was not to, but my aura probably is weaker than the other person's aura, and therefore I am absorbing it invariably, unintentionally. And therefore, it's very important that I need to be active in this, and I need to check what I am absorbing. It was in the inner chamber of the soul, she said. At one point, either it could be positive or negative, so I have to be very careful. And let me try to choose what I need to absorb so that I feel light and happy. All of you have been sharing again and again the connection with the Supreme. That connection is of paramount importance because that is the source, that is the ocean from where I can fill myself. And I fill myself so much that I start overflowing. And then if I'm overflowing with positive energy, then there is no way I can absorb negativity from anyone. Then she asked that ask these reflection questions to yourself. Again, it's about the sponge, as we had discussed before. Where are you absorbing positive energy right now in your life? And she said, make a list of those 5. And see, when we were doing that exercise last week, I remember we were feeling very nice when we were doing. And then she told us a few, she got it out with beautiful paper, the kitchen towel paper, where she showed us with the marker pens that how the black was the negative energy and the other color pen was a positive energy. And how that blotting paper, or rather the kitchen towel paper, how it was absorbing. She showed it very beautifully. So again, it's a repetition here that be an observer instead of absorbing negativity. So let me absorb the positivity avidly from the Supreme and from people around as well, positive energy. But when it comes to negative energy, as I said, invariably we absorb. So let us try to just be observers rather than absorbers. That's the crux of this. Few takeaways which she mentioned was I have to really be on my toes as far as my intellect is concerned. I have to master this ability to discern that what I should allow to influence me. Absorb those things which are helpful, which add on to your energy and help you in upliftment. Leave aside that which is really disempowering you. Change your channel, which means redirect your mind towards that positive. And we did this SOS approach. That is one of the ways. There are many other ways which you can use for transforming from negative to positive. I don't have time to do that today. We'll do that sometime later. A beautiful rhyming word, she says, absorb the best, leave the rest. A few other reflections which she asked us is, what helps you absorb good company? So there are a few ones which I have also spoken about. Letting go, clean and pure mind, and elevated company. A few other questions to ponder upon. What helps you to remove the protective coating guard which is not allowing me to absorb positive energy? So here it was that, what is it that is preventing me from absorbing God's positive energy? There is definitely something I need to work on it. We have to therefore open our hearts, have our intellects very clean and clear, and then I can absorb God's energy. She was speaking about the half and half, that if you have half good energy, half negative energy, it's like you're nowhere. So obviously the number of, or the amount of positive should be more than negative. And when I fill myself in meditation with so much of positivity, automatically the God's energy washes out all the negativity. Important to know that. And the quote from her side was, whatever the soul absorbs, it is going to be spreading it all around. The art of absorbance is to learn to absorb only that which brings me benefit. So we finished before time, so much before time, I must say. Like you can spend more time on the discussion in the question. So I'll pass it on now to Sister Shruti.
Thank
Over
you,
to you.
Rajpai. Just going to share my screen. Okay. So what we'll do in this portion is we'll first again look at some reflections or some quotes by Sister Judy, and then we'll get into a slightly more involved process. So the first one is, and I'm going to read this slowly, so it gives you a chance to reflect, put down the thoughts that come to your mind, and which will help you in the second portion of this exercise. So the first one is, you may put much effort to absorb the best, but without noticing, you may absorb a lot of negative from outside. Then the result is that you feel drained and dull. So once again, you may put much effort to absorb the best, but without you noticing, you may absorb a lot of energy from outside. Then the result is that you feel drained and dull. So just 10 seconds for you to reflect on this. And the second quote is, be a detached observer of the self to choose to absorb the best. So just like what we've been talking about, the SOS, be a detached observer of yourself and choose to absorb the best. The third one, when I am full of good energy, I can't absorb negative. When I am full of good energy, I can't absorb negative. If there are any thoughts, pen them down and we'll come back to discuss. Okay. Now what we're going to do in this portion is I'm going to read out some words. And just like the SOS activity, what I want you to do, or what I invite you to do, is to observe yourself. See how you feel, what goes on inside of you when I say some of these words. Again, pen and paper is always helpful, but really observe yourself. Anger. Comes to your mind. How do you feel? Hatred. Rejection. Greed. Corruption. Fear. disheartenment, despair, revenge, hopelessness, sad, blame, jealousy. It's fairly negative words, each carrying different meaning, different sentiment. What is it bringing it up? What is it bringing up in you? How does it feel? How do you react to it? And now switching gears, let's see if we can squeeze out that negative. We all experience it. Let's see what some of these words evoke. Love, happiness, respect, sweetness, honesty, friendship, reliability, courage, innocence, gratitude. Fairly positive words, each again with a very different meaning, different emotion, sometimes different context. And now let's just continue to look at some of these words and some of that good energy they carry. I'm going to stop sharing. So, how did it feel? Thoughts when we were looking at first the negative words and then at the positive words. Any thoughts? We've heard the speakers, we've been learning about different methodologies.
I thoroughly enjoyed listening to those words. The negative words took me into what the situation of the world is, because somehow I don't see that in me anymore.
Nice.
And even though sometimes I want to ignore that it does exist around me, I was able to see that it does exist.
Very
And
nice.
the positive words took me into where I want to see myself and how I want to see myself. It made me picture myself in that perfect state of having all those qualities. Thank you.
That's wonderful. No, thank you for sharing. So, anybody else for any other thoughts?
I just was realizing as I am even writing those words, the other virtues emerge, like respect and heart is filled with contentment, like that honesty is the respect that's emerging in me. So I was thinking it's such a great thing how
amazing.
it will pull.
It's amazing how, right? Like one positive thought can really bring up so much more, even a positive word. Yes, I think Geeta, would you like to share, Geeta Man?
Yeah.
Geeta Juman. Yeah, please go
Yeah.
ahead.
The first set of the all positive good words. Naturally, it happens that you respond with the similar energy, positive, hopeful, accepted, friendliness, and very light and free to share your thoughts or opinions or whatever you have to contribute that conversation or work. And the second one, negative, that invokes again kind of fear, not trust, like distrust, or not feeling very heavy and not willing to share my true thoughts.
Very nice. So it's even not just about what you experience, but even how you respond. That's beautiful. Very nice. What else? I'd seen another unmute. Was that you, Hridaya? Would you like to share? Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead, Rachel.
I think with the negative thoughts or the negative words, I was thinking about I think just emptiness was the what came to mind.
Very nice. Very nice. And what about the positive? Did you feel equally full?
I don't know, honestly, I don't know. I only thought of no, I only felt the emptiness in the negative one.
Okay. Well, that's part of what we are doing in this exercise. Like the first, and I can just share my screen one more time. You know, this is exactly what the quote was really about, that you could put in a lot of effort to absorb the best, but you still absorb a lot of negative from the outside. You really need to be very alert and recognize that there is a lot happening outside. And even without you realizing, we do absorb things. So you do end up having to takes a little more effort, become that detached observer so that you can choose to only absorb the best. So yeah, I completely understand. Like this came first, so that's where we got stuck. But the effort is hopefully that we can shift the attention to these positive words and then squeeze it out on our own. Anything else? Any other thoughts before we move into our meditation?
Okay, so let's move further into the meditation mode now. And sharing the screen. Sorry for the delay. Okay, so after having discussed so much about observance and absorbance, and the words also sound so similar that sometimes we're getting confused, right, Shruti? So we'll just now go in the meditation mode and try to absorb and also observe what is our feelings when we get connected and absorb God's energy. So as always, let's sit back, relax, connect yourself to this inner core, the inner being of light and power. Looking at the picture in front of you, see so many lights glittering on that tree. And that is symbolic of the souls of the world. Feel your inner being, your inner light, and the very next moment, visualize another powerful light that is the Supreme Being. And visualize that Supreme Light on the top of your head. Let's see that you are absorbing all the virtues and powers from that Supreme Being. And you're filling up yourself with so much of that supreme energy that you've started overflowing now. And there is no scope at all for absorbing anything else, particularly negative from the outside world. Because I am connected to the source, divine source. See how you're feeling now, having connected yourself to the Supreme Being. And all those negative thoughts which we spoke about are no more disturbing myself. Because remember, I am connected to the source, all the virtues and powers. And no one negative thought has any power in front of that supreme energy. So with this beautiful note, let's try to empower ourselves again and again in the middle of our busy routine, which we have, all of us. Let's try to find out some time in between the busy schedule, connect to this source, because that's the only way to empower the soul. So, stop sharing the screen. Over to Sister Anu for the announcements and photograph.
Thank you, Brother Manoj, for the beautiful meditation. Thank you, everyone. I'm sure we are taking some insights for the self-work. Be an observer and absorb only positive. So, as we always do, the fourth session for each art is the silence retreat, so that we can take our time to reflect and internalize what we learned throughout the 3 sessions, and much churning on the workshop. So please join us for the silence retreat next week, Saturday, 23rd August, 1.5 hours, same time, starting at 7 for India and 7:30 for West Coast, US, Canada. It is based on the Brahma Kumaris teachings, so it would be still the insight, the spiritual insight on the art, and much time to self-reflecting. This everyone is welcome to join, even though you know the studies of Brahma Kumaris. We'll see you then. And the next, after that, we'll start, next art is Art of Being Happy and Content. And it would be on 30th of August, so it goes in this month's calendar. And for that, we'll have Sister Moira from Argentina. She's the director of Brahma Kumaris in Argentina. And it's happening on 30th of August time, 7 a.m. West Coast time, 7:30 India. Please mark your calendar and you can join us then. This is the calendar that we share, and we'll be sharing again the next month soon. So it would be the 4 sessions on art of being happy and content of this. And you can send us any information or anything. You can write to us on our emails or check our website for more information. And all the videos will be uploaded on our YouTube channels. Check any video that you would like. And yeah, before we end with this song on this art that one of our member creates, we can have our photograph. That little group of people that enjoyed the art of observance, the journey. In the photograph, please open your video. We all have observed positive energy, right? With wisdom, opening up and observe and only observe the positive. Anyone else would like to open their video? Okay, got that. So thank you everyone. And let's get into enjoying through this song on the art of observance.
Up Shiva's energy, remain stable, be watchful. When the world feels like a roller coaster, overcome self-doubt and insecurities, rise above the deceptions and temptations of the mind. You are an ocean in a drop, you are soul. Remain absorbed in the one, go within. Soak up Shiva's energy, remain stable, be watchful. Don't absorb pain or sadness, radiate happiness. You are the king of your life. Worrying about someone else's opinion is like being insulted by an ant. Remain absorbed in the one, go within. Soak up Shiva's energy, remain stable, be watchful. Be happy, always love yourself, love God and love others. Because of this companionship, you experience that all Shiva's treasures are your treasures. Ooh. Remain absorbed in the one, go within. Soak up Shiva's energy, remain stable, be watchful. Dive deep, unearth your real wealth, find your real home with Shiva. Love is the bridge between you and everything. Remain absorbed in the one, go within. Soak up Shiva's energy, remain stable, be watchful. Shiva has given us many achievements. The real strength lies in absorbing them, not announcing them. Soak up Shiva's energy, remain stable, be watchful.
So that was the beautiful summarized song. So we all are taking beautiful experiences and the method to squeeze out negative. Enjoy, everyone, and see you in the silence retreat next week and in this journey together. Bye. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, everyone.